He was substituted, Danny, on 69 minutes for Oliver Skipp. A chorus of boos. Tony Cascarino in the Times this morning, he really goes for it. The Tottenham midfielder took an age to walk off when he was substituted. He showed no urgency in going off, then went straight down the tunnel. I think that walk may have cost him his Tottenham career. I can't see Conte putting up with that attitude. You know what? I think Cascarino's right.
He might be, but you've got to throw in a caveat with that, which is the player's got 3 years left on a contract and being paid a fortune, so he's got a say in it as well. I disagree. I disagree with any player walking off and throwing your toys out while you're on the. You've got to get off and have it out later. I don't mind the odd strop in the dugout, throwing a bottle of water or running up the tunnel now and again, as long as you apologise, because it shows passion, shows you care.
Yeah.
But you've got to get off the pitch and shake hands with the guy going on and wish him all the best. I didn't see the game, so I didn't see a level of his performance. Sometimes you can get, I'm sure it didn't happen here, but sometimes when the fans are booing when a player's going off, it can be a positive in that they don't want him going off. I'm assuming that wasn't the case on this one.
Oh, no, it was the absolute reverse.
Was it? Yeah, okay.
Situation there.
But I think he's...
There were one down saying, get off, get somebody on, you get out of our faces, get a bend on.
He's not really a Conte player.
No.
As a midfielder.
No.
He likes... more desire. He likes more desire and more tenacity and more athleticism in his midfielders. He's got great ability, great technical ability, but doesn't show it often enough. He's a luxury.
Well, this is it. I mean, Simon, if you were at the top of the club at Tottenham, as you were at Palace, you're sitting there watching one of your own players who you pay a fortune to. Yep. As Cascarino says, when he eventually hauled himself to the touchline, he continued his walk of shame down the tunnel.
Okay.
Does it go through your mind that, yeah, we're not going to see him again?
Well, possibly. I mean, Danny's point is right about the contract term, but it's wrong in another respect, because Conte will have the juice to turn around to the chairman and say, I want him away. So get him away. And if that means you've got to compromise on the transfer fee to be able to facilitate his wages being accommodated by another club, then that is what it is. We've had him for 2 or 3 years. He hasn't done particularly wonderfully for anybody. He was pulled out and called out by Mourinho on a number of occasions, wasn't he, about his weight and so on and so forth. So it is what it is.
Yeah. They paid 55 mil for him.
Well, if he's been there, if he's on a 5-year contract and he's been there for 3 years, then he's on their balance sheet at 20 million quid. So they can get him out the door for 15 million quid to subsidise a deal because someone else might want to not pick his wages and a transfer fee, and they've only lost 5 million quid. It will be a non-decision for Daniel if Conte is of the mindset that this is not for me.
I think he will be.
Then you have to then ask the question, why is Conte picking him if he's got that disposition from the player? Or more importantly, why isn't he able to communicate with the player a sense of urgency and responsibility?
Well, I think the club's record signing would do a job in Morecambe.
Well, let's give it some context, because I've seen him a bit, and he has played some games where he's been very good, and he's at times he probably feels he's been harshly treated and should have had more opportunities. Because he's so good technically, he's some great assists this season, some brilliant through balls and moments of magic, and he probably feels he hasn't had the support to show off his talent. Now, tough. It's just the way football is.
Yeah.
You have some managers who like you and some who don't. But he has put some effort in, and he has tried to contribute. He's just not Conte's type. He's put him in a game saying, go on, here you go against Morecambe. Show off your stuff and win us the game. And he's been poor, and Morecambe have taken the lead till 70-odd minutes, and then he's thrown his toys out. It's not a deal done. If he's got some resilience, he could have a chat with his manager and try and come back. But I don't think Conte's going to have got time to entertain waiting for a player of Ndombele's quality to get on board.
Yeah,
and I agree with Simon. I think there'll be a way of getting him out, but he will be on good dough. I mean, the other thing is, Simon, as you well know, when a player's showing those type of characteristics, it doesn't half put off prospective buyers.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all well and good wanting players out the door.
Managers will always believe that it's their voice. It's their voice that will change the direction of this person's thinking. So if the club can get him, if another club wants to buy him because another manager believes that he is the antidote, he's the panacea for that particular player's problems, then you'll find the solution will be economic, i.e. if a club is prepared to buy him with a reservation that perhaps they're going to visit the same problems upon themselves, but if they get him at a discount, they'll take a view on it.
I mean, you have to think Simon Levy would be fuming watching that.
Just let his manager do it.
Well, I think he'd be more inclined to be worried more what Antonio Conte thinks. As a Tottenham fan, Daniel will be disenfranchised or disillusioned, shall we say, by the attitude of a player, but he'll be more concerned about the outcome of the game. He's a bigger picture person. Micro moments are superseded by macro ones in Daniel's mind, because Daniel wants to see Tottenham in the next round of the FA Cup. If a player saunters off it might make his decision-making process on that player a little bit easier in his own mind, because he reconciles in his own mind, I'll move away from my balance sheet, I'll move away from my spreadsheet of what this player's worth, and I'll say to myself, actually, there's a better decision to be made here, which is a bit of financial compromise to get somebody in that actually will give me a better outcome in the longer game. So Daniel's not silly.
He was ultimately brought in as an Eriksen replacement, that type.
Yeah.
He was brought in as a creative midfielder, not a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
He struggled with fitness, but he has had magic moments. He has shown some brilliant moments, but that's not good enough for Tottenham anymore. They need consistency and players who are on a level like Eriksen was.
Yeah.
Because Eriksen, what he gave Tottenham was reliability and creativity and scoring goals from a midfield position, and he's not doing that. So, going back to the original point of the conversation, I agree with you, Jim. I actually think Conte he'll be done with him.